Well, it's about Super Bowl weekend. Who you got? You got the Philadelphia Eagles, or you got Patty Mahomes? I think the Eagles are going to pull this one out. I don't think Mahomes is going to be at his best. Not going to be 100%. I don't think, but I don't really care who wins or not. I do think the Eagles will pull it out. Chapter 7. This is a pretty cool chapter. It's one of my favorites because the main character is Stephen, and my favorite basketball player is Stephen Curry, who he's named after. What we see, I didn't know too much about Stephen, so I had to kind of go look up a little bit about him. We know that he was one of the deacons in the church. He was one of the bread guys that we kind of talked about in Acts chapter 6. Also, we know that he was one of the first people, actually he was the first person since Moses to have his face shine with the glory of God, not counting Jesus obviously on the mountain of transfiguration, but his face, because he was, I guess, in such closeness with God, his face shone, just like we see in Exodus with Moses. Well, when kind of Stephen begins to address the crowd, which is what chapter 7 is all about, he kind of goes all the way back to Abraham, and he talks about Abraham, he talks about Moses, and he talks about David, and in all the kind of the talk, and he also talks about Joseph, but in all the conversations he had, and all the stories that he told, and all the background that he built, does any of it differ from what we have in our Bibles in the Old Testament? Does any of it change? And the answer is no, actually it doesn't. And 3,000 years have passed from when it actually occurred with Abraham until the day that Stephen is actually speaking on it. And all that time, nothing had changed. And then we're 2,000 years post Stephen's death. So 5,000 years from the time that Abraham first did all these things, and David first did all these things, and Moses first did all these things, and Joseph did everything that Stephen was talking about. Nothing has changed. The same things that Stephen preached, the same things that Abraham did, are the exact stories that we read in our Bible. So that kind of lets me know that, hey, look, the Bible has been preserved over all these years and all these centuries and all these decades and all of the millennia. God's preservation is what I got from this, is for our revelation. He preserves His Scripture so that we can do like what we're doing in these 66 days. We can get into these Scriptures, that we can learn them, that we can read them, so that they can apply to our lives, so that we can teach them to other people. So if you want to learn more about how the Scripture has not changed over time, I have a link in the description that's called How Has the Bible Been Corrupted? And also if you want to go look at our podcast, you can find it there too. But just if you want to learn a little bit more about that, you can. I hope that you leave your comments or your application in the description box below.